The MMA fortune teller.
The teller, the teller, the teller, the teller, the teller, the teller.
What is up, you guys? The teller is back. Feels like it's been a long time since I've been on the mic. I'm excited to be back here talking all things MMA. First and foremost, I hope all you guys had a great holiday season. I hope your guys' Christmases were good. Your New Year's, whatever other holidays you guys celebrated, I hope it was great. I hope you guys had a great time with your family. And I know a lot of you guys are missing some fight action. I know I am. And luckily for us, there's some fights on the horizon. And we got an exciting card coming up too. A great main event. And the prediction video for that card will be out very soon. But on today's episode, the reason why I'm here, I want to talk about the year 2021 as a whole in regards to betting. I want to go into detail on how we did statistically. For those of you guys that follow me on Instagram, MMA Fortune Teller _, you guys have seen my results already. I posted those yesterday. We're going to be getting into those exact numbers here today. It was another profitable year, and I'm excited about that. I'm proud of that. It's not something that's easily done. For those of you guys that kind of dabble in the game and you don't really keep up with your numbers, it's a lot harder being profitable than a lot of you guys think, and especially the numbers we put up here this past year. So I'm excited about that. I'm proud about that, especially for all the people that have worked with me throughout the year, especially for my long-term clients that worked with me for the entire year, because I know exactly the product that I gave to you guys. Of course, you know, sometimes people come in for one specific fight card, or they come in for a month or whatnot, so the results may vary, but overall, you know, I'm producing a successful product, and that's what we're going to talk about today too. But I have a couple other things I want to talk about as well for some of you guys that are just trying to learn more sports betting language and understand a little bit about what an ROI is, and you know, different details like that. I'm going to briefly go into some of those things. Some of you guys have been messaging me already about that since I did my post on Instagram. So I'll briefly discuss some of those things. So maybe I could help educate some of you guys there. But I won't go too much into detail, but because later on I'm going to be putting some more specific videos on my sports betting weekly channel in regards to each of those subjects. But I want to briefly go over some of those things as we discuss some of these numbers here. So first and foremost, let's get into the numbers as you see them scrolling on the bottom. As a whole for the year, we profited in the green 72.94 units. Our ROI was 11.5, which was outstanding. It's very, very good within a year's time frame. And our win ratio was 60.7. The win ratio, for those of you guys that don't really understand that, it's kind of irrelevant, to be honest. Your win ratio really doesn't mean much at all. You could have a win ratio of 25%, 20%, and you could still be in the green. You could still be at major units, and you could have a great ROI. Of course, being the factor that depending on what type of fights you're betting on, if you're taking major underdog type bets, and you know, you're losing a lot, but you're hitting the occasional bet, and you're slamming major underdog odds, the numbers can be skewed there. You could have somebody that could have a 90% win ratio, a 95% win ratio, that's hammering these minus 600 lines, these minus 700 lines, minus 300 lines, and they lose occasionally, and you know, that one loss right there, it's going to take them so many bets just to catch back up to their losses there. So understand exactly how that works. So my win ratio 60.7, I mean, you could take that for what it is. 72.94 units of profit. You know, I want to start there. So just to give you guys an idea of what we're talking about here, for my clients, or just when you look at my product, right, what I put out, when you see my bet write-ups, a lot of you guys say, well, what is a unit? If we're going to briefly start there, a unit basically is just a percentage of your bankroll. It's just used to describe, it's more of a broader term to describe how much you're wagering, instead of just saying how much you're betting, because it's more of a universal term where you can get a better understanding, right? If you have some homeless guy and he's betting a $10 bet, that could be a humongous max play for him, where you got a guy like Bill Gates, $100,000 could be a minuscule bet, if you kind of understand that. And generally, a unit is 1% of your bankroll, which your bankroll should be something that you're comfortable with betting with. If you lose it, it's not going to make or break you. It's not going to prevent you from putting food on the table, messing with your mortgage. If you cannot kind of understand that. A unit of measure for me is right around $500. You know, I'm working with the 50,000 bankroll right there. So now, if you would have been using my product for the year, if you would have been using $100 per unit for yourself, you would have profited $7,294 on the year. You know, my services, they go for right now $600 per year. So I mean, it would have been well more than worth it. And that's starting at the bottom. I mean, if you're paying me for bets, I would hope that you're putting a little bit more money up than $100 a unit. That's really not much at all. I mean, if you think about it, say I'm giving you a 2.5 unit play, you're putting $250 out. I mean, I guess there's all different types of people here watching this video, but like I said, a unit for me is $500. So to give you an understanding of what I would have profited on the year, or what I did profit, but I'll briefly go into what I mean by that. Just structured off my bet write-ups, if I stuck to this system, I would have profited. I did profit $36,470 on the year. But here's what I want to talk about real quick before we even go into the other numbers. It is very hard to stick to a very structured system like that. Even me giving out my bets, I tell you guys all the time, I bet on every single fight. But here's the difference. When I'm betting on my official plays, we're talking about way bigger money. These other fights, I'm putting out a little bit of money here and there. Of course, you know, if you have a couple of drinks and you're feeling frisky and you want to step something up, if you have a loss, and I don't recommend you do this, but if you want to chase a little bit, I'm not perfect, and I bet you there's very few of you guys out there that are that clean with your betting. So, you know, I'm not going to say that I hit $36,470 to a T this year. It varied a little bit because there was some other bets that I went in on that weren't official plays, losses, wins. I bet on every single fight here. But with the real system, the real business that we're doing, man, the bets that I'm really going in on, the $500 unit plays, you know, we're talking $36,470. And I would hope that the plays I'm giving you guys, I hope you're kind of messing around with the bankroll like that. I hope you guys are putting those types of bets out there. I mean, I guess everyone's in a different situation, but if you're throwing $2,000 on a fight, I don't know. I mean, hopefully you guys got something like that because the system is paying off. So if you're putting that type of money up, you're getting more profit back anyway. And like I said, this was another profitable year. We've been stringing off profitable years, which is why I've been more inclined to step up my unit size. I've been seeing consistent results in myself year to year, so I've felt more confident in myself, and I've been able to increase the amount of money that I'm wagering, which is another good thing. You know, for my big time people out there, and I know I've got a couple of you guys when we talk, if you were to be using $1,000 per unit, if you were using that type of system, you would have profited $72,940 on the year if you just stuck to the system. I mean, that's a lot of money, and I know I'm kind of just throwing that out there to you guys. I know a lot of you guys don't have $1,000 unit size, but I mean, there are some people out there that do. Trust me, and I do deal with them. They send me pictures of their bets, and some of them are quite hefty. So just to kind of touch upon that. Now, I want to talk about the ROI here for a second, the return on investment. Over the past year, we had an ROI of 11.5. That's outstanding. Anything from 1 to 10% of an ROI is very, very good. And I just topped that 10% mark. That's an outstanding measure right there for the year. And that's something that's very hard to do long term, especially when you're talking, you know, 4 years, 5 years, depending on the amount of bets you're putting out there. But an ROI like that, it's very hard to do. And again, I challenge all you guys, track your bets over this upcoming year and see what numbers you're putting out there. It's very hard to have an ROI like that. And let's go into what an ROI is, right? The return on investment. You're basically going to take the amount of your winnings and you're going to divide them by the amount you put up to get those winnings, right? So you would take the amount of units you made and divide it by the amount of units you wagered throughout the entire year, multiply that by 100, that's going to be your ratio. And to give you even another example of that, so the amount of winnings you made, say you went to Vegas, the amount of money that you made, and then take all the amount of money that you put up to make those wagers, okay? You're going to divide the winnings by the amount you put up and then multiply that by 100. That's going to give you your ratio. And if you're doing anything 5% and up, 5 to 15%, you're doing outstanding. All right, that's what we're talking about there. So again, very, very proud of the ROI I put out there. All right, so we talked a lot about the specific numbers that we did. I do want to talk about some specific fights that happened over the past year. I want to talk about some things that we did right, some mistakes that we made, and some little variations that could have really made a difference in the numbers that I even put out. You know, of course, you have in MMA, you have fights where the judges screw you. You have DQs and all types of stuff. So I want to go into a couple different fights and just some things that we've learned from last year. But before we do that, I also want to tell you guys this. For those of you guys that are new to sports betting, or some of you that have been around for a while and just need to hear this, keep in mind, when you're betting on these fights and betting on sports, you should not be expecting to make yourself rich from betting on sports. I think that's a horrible mentality to go into it with. You definitely want to make money. You want to profit. You want to be in the green. You don't want to be doing this just, you know, to enjoy doing it while you're losing money. You want to be making money, and it's definitely possible to do. But understand you have to have realistic expectations. And you know, if you're coming in with a very small bankroll, don't expect to be making, for example, like some of the numbers I put out there. Don't expect to just make $36,000-$40,000 a year if you're working with a very small bankroll. I hate to say it, but sometimes when you have a larger bankroll, it allows you to make some decent profits. When you have a smaller bankroll, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because you don't want to be reaching. You want to stay to a structured system. You don't want to be, you know, putting your entire bankroll on one bet, you know, because you lose that bet and then you're done for, and you're not going to be able to sustain, you know, betting on sports for long. You're going to drain yourself. I'm telling you right now. So I can go a lot more into what I'm trying to say here, and I'm going to save that for some of these videos I'm going to be putting out on Sports Betting Weekly. That is my other YouTube channel. I'm going to have the link in the description below. For those of you guys that are already subscribed to that channel, I appreciate you there. If you haven't, go do that. I'm going to be having a lot of content coming out there. Some of you guys have been asking me about that channel. I've been pumping the brakes on it. I told you guys I have some things I've been working on here. I still don't have the new studio. I'm hoping I'm going to have it by March, April. But either way, I'm going to be right here on the mic, and I'm going to be pumping out a lot of stuff for the year 2022. I'm really going to be on my grind here. I'm really trying to get this channel to blow up. I'm all in here. So again, please guys, hit that like button for me if you haven't already. Please subscribe to both my channels. Catch me on social media, MMA Fortune Teller _. Catch me on Twitter, the MMA Teller. I'm telling you guys, I'm really going to make a push over the next 5 years here, and I'm gonna get this thing to blow up. So I appreciate all your guys' support. But you can expect a lot of sports betting tip videos coming out on my Sports Betting Weekly channel, along with a variation of all type of free plays for NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, MLB, you name it. So I just want to put that out there too. Yes, I am very pleased with the results I put out there, but I can always want a little more. And you guys know how this MMA game it goes. It's a little crazy at times, especially in regards to the judges. And not even just the judges, sometimes fighters making some mental mistakes in there that could really cost you some money. And I want to talk about some specific fights that actually cost me some major units. So, you know, I said how happy I am with the results I had. They could have been a lot better. And there's a couple fights I'm just going to talk about real quick. We got to talk about the Piotr Yan loss. That was a fight. I had a 6-unit play on that fight. I got it at great odds. And you guys know what happened in that fight. And speaking of that fight, the rematch is set. I cannot wait for that rematch. But that fight really cost me some money, and that's one of the more frustrating losses because anybody that was watching that fight, you saw Piotr Yan was in complete control, and that was an easy victory for him if he didn't throw that knee. You know, that was a fight that really cost me some units there. How about I had a parlay with Makhmud Muradov and Andre Petroski. Petroski came through that night. Makhmud Muradov, you remember the fight that he lost to Gerald Meerschaert? I was very big on that play. That was an 8-unit max play loss. Okay, guys? So if you can imagine, that was a solid amount of units coming back right there. That really cost me. If you guys remember that fight, Makhmud Muradov almost finishes Gerald Meerschaert in the first round. But Gerald weathered the storm, and then he ended up coming back and getting the finish on Muradov. Muradov is a guy that I'm still high on, but definitely lost some value in his stock, in my opinion. And you know, he really blew his load. He didn't pace himself, and it cost him, and it cost me some big money. So that was another fight I have to talk about. And then you got a list of fights that were very close that cost me as well. But this is completely normal, and I can't sit here and complain too much about those types of fights because everybody goes through them. But, you know, fights like the Miranda Maverick fight versus Macy Barber, I mean, that's just a fight that comes to mind. A lot of people thought Maverick won that fight. Fights like that. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to whine about it because it's the fight game, and that fight was somewhat close, but pretty much everybody had Maverick winning that fight. And there's a couple other fights that went like that for me. But you know what? There's a couple fights that I got the nod with that maybe I shouldn't have as well. I mean, that is the fight game. In my opinion, I'm going to say I got a little bit of the bad end of the stick, more so than the better end. But that's the game. That's the game of betting on MMA and betting on sports. I had a bet this past weekend, right? What was it? Yeah, last Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Houston Texans. I took an alternate line on the Houston Texans at plus 14.5. I bought a point. I don't know if any of you guys saw that game. If you would have saw how this how this game finished at the end, you would have been ripping your hair out if you had money on it. The Texans were actually leading going into the half. I believe, if I remember correctly. Either way, it was a very close game. The 49ers just string off a bunch of points with about 2 minutes left in the game. The Texans go for it on fourth and their own right in front of their own red zone there. They don't get it. The 49ers, instead of just wasting the clock, they end up kicking a field goal. I mean, weird things like that can happen and they can cost you money. I mean, it's a wild game betting on sports, man. You'll really see some wild stuff out there. My brother in my fantasy football league, how about this one for you fantasy football people out there? My brother was in the championship. He ended up losing by 2 points, and the play that cost him, I don't know if any of you guys saw this, was the last play of the week with Najee Harris, where it was 3rd and 2. The game was over. The Steelers won the game, but they keep running the ball to Najee instead of kneeling because there was about a 20-second time discrepancy, and Najee breaks through the line and hits like a 40-yard touchdown run and ends up my brother ends up losing by 2 points because of that play. I mean, if you could only imagine that. And again, that's just an example of how wild the sports betting world could be. And fantasy football is a form of sports betting too, you know, for all you DraftKings people out there and all that type of stuff. And I think the best thing you could do in those types of situations is you got to just take it on the chin. Because I'm telling you guys right now, going into 2022, you're going to have some wagers out there that are going to really bite you in the butt. That you're going to have some fights that you really think that you won and the judges are going to get you, or you're going to have some fights where your fighter is destroying the opposition and then all of a sudden drops the ball. And I've had some crazy ones like that. If you guys remember the Derek Lewis versus Alexander Volkov fight, I was in Vegas for that. I had a hefty wager on Alexander Volkov. Volkov was basically, I think he was at the time, he was breaking some type of heavyweight statistical records. And then you guys know the rest is history. Derek Lewis gets the knockout with about 5-6 seconds left on the clock. Cost me thousands of dollars there. It's part of the game. Those types of things are always a lot better when you're on the winning side of things. You know, getting that Hail Mary comeback, it's one of the greatest feelings you'll ever get. And that's a part of the reason why I think one of the major reasons why we're in this stuff, you know, that rush, that excitement. So just embrace it. Don't let it get you too worked up. And when you take a loss like that, do not start chasing your losses, man. I'm telling you guys, and I know it's a lot easier said than done. I've done it myself. I've done it a couple times throughout the years, and it's made me feel sick to my stomach, man. I've lost some bad ones like that. I'm like, that's BS. I'm coming back. I'm attacking tonight. Just a little recklessly, and I've lost some major units in the night. So it happens to the best of us, but let's keep a structured system this upcoming year. Let's make intelligent moves, and let's bring money in. Let's profit. We've proven year to year to year that we profit with the structured system. And I went over the numbers earlier. So again, if you want to run them back, I mean, if you stick to that system, this is what we've been doing for a while now. I mean, these are the types of numbers that I expect. Again, this is why I was able to bump up my bankroll or my unit size. And I mentioned how I typically use a $500 per unit system, but you know, sometimes when money's coming in, and depending how I feel, sometimes I bump it up a little bit. A $600 unit system. You can sometimes use a 1.5% of your bankroll per unit. You could do that too. $750 a unit would be for me. But again, just figure out what your unit size is, man. Figure out what money what money you're working with that you don't really Shouldn't say you don't mind, because of course you're going to mind, but think of what money you have to bet on sports that's not going to make or break you, that's not going to affect the family, that's not going to affect the food on your table, the mortgage, family vacation, car payments if you have them, gas, this and that. And you always want to be making money and saving money. So just, you know, figure out what you got going on there. And if any of you guys need help with that, you could always reach out to me, man. I'm always here. Shoot me an email, MMAfortuneteller@gmail.com. I gave you guys my social media. It's there below as well. And yeah, I mean, it's easy to figure out what you're working with. And if you need some help, I can help you there. What else? I don't know. I think that's going to wrap up today's episode. Like I said, though, keep in mind, big things coming this upcoming year. Brand new studio. Hopefully the audio is okay, but I want to fix this all up. I know I can get way better performance out of this microphone. I got to mess with the settings. I messed with the video here a little bit too. Hopefully I'm a little bit more clear, but I know I can get a better product out of the video I have here too. So big things coming up. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Please like this video. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Please support. Share this channel with your friends. If you know they bet on MMA and sports, let them know about me. I'm really making a push, man, and I need some help from you guys as well. So thank you guys so much. Expect big things this year. I'm going to give out some free plays throughout the year as well. I'm going to try to be a little bit more charitable with my service. I want to give out some free plays. I want to make this channel exciting. Expect fighter interviews coming back. I might even try to get an interview with Julian Lane before his big fight with Mike Perry. I'm thinking about reaching out to him. I met him at BKFC about 2 events ago. Really cool dude. I chilled with him and his girl for a little bit. He was a cool guy. You guys probably seen the picture on my Instagram with me and him. So I might do a little interview with him. And once I have the studio, interviews are coming left and right. So you guys can expect that as well. And you guys can also expect the live streams to start picking up. So we'll have the live chat going here on YouTube, and expect more live streams coming up towards the middle of next year. Okay, guys? And man, I'm rambling here. So you guys can expect the prediction video to be coming out very soon. I will hope to have that up here in the next couple days, maybe before the weekend. And again, we got fights a week from tomorrow, so the fights are coming back. I cannot wait to see some action there. All right, guys. And on that note, nothing else left to do but signing out. Teller. The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.